The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever's improbable push to the WNBA Semifinals wasn't just about basketball. It was about a team whose journey had been defined by pain, injury, and frustration, finally breaking through. With 6 key players sidelined, angry after a controversial loss in Game 1, and the weight of nearly a decade of postseason disappointment hanging over them, they had one shot, Game 3. Win or go home. But in the end, it wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. For the Fever, this was a night of reckoning. A night to prove to themselves and the world that they were more than the sum of their setbacks. The last time they reached this stage in 2015, Tamika Catchings was still leading the charge, and the franchise was riding high. Fast forward to today, and the Fever had spent almost a decade fighting for relevance, struggling with injuries and battling their own sense of being overlooked. Their opponent, the Atlanta Dream, was healthy and at home, poised to end Indiana's season in front of their raucous crowd. Yet, the Fever were about to defy the odds. Before a single shot was taken, the atmosphere told the story. Lexie Mitchell, ever the calm and collected leader, prepared herself for a monumental task, carrying the scoring load as she had done all season. Aaliyah Boston, with her quiet confidence, stood ready for the physical battle inside. Despite all the reasons the Fever had to back down, they stepped onto the court with a resolve that was impossible to ignore. The game started with a sharp intensity, and from the jump, Lexie Hull set the tone with one of the most defining plays of her career. Guarding Atlanta's star Ryan Howard, Hull displayed defensive discipline rarely seen in such high-pressure moments. Howard tried to shake her with a behind-the-back move, but Hull stayed poised, her hand high, her feet moving, refusing to give an inch. It was the kind of play that didn't show up in the box score but served as a microcosm of the Fever's mentality that night. Steady, unflinching, relentless. But the path to victory wasn't easy. A tough loss in Game 1, filled with controversial officiating decisions, had left the Fever seething. They weren't just playing for a playoff spot now, they were playing to restore their pride, to fight back against a system that had stacked the odds against them. And when the game got tough, they didn't flinch. Lexie Mitchell, facing a relentless defensive barrage, scored 24 points, 19 of those before halftime. Every time Atlanta seemed to find a rhythm, Mitchell countered with her own bursts of brilliance, attacking the rim, creating plays, refusing to be contained. Her ability to score when it mattered most kept the Fever alive, her energy feeding into her teammates. Despite the mounting pressure, she never lost her composure, even when it seemed the Dream might run away with it. Alongside Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston showed why she was the future of the franchise. Every rebound, every screen, every assist seemed like a lifeline to a team gasping for air. The Dream might have had a size advantage, but Boston neutralized it with her savvy footwork and impeccable timing. Even when her shooting was off, she found other ways to impact the game. She wasn't just holding her own, she was pushing the Fever forward with every possession, every fight for position in the paint. Natasha Howard, a player who doesn't need the spotlight to shine, came alive with her hustle. It wasn't just about the points she scored, it was about the little things, the deflections, the loose balls, the rebounds, that kept Atlanta from getting comfortable. Every minute she played felt like a gift, a reminder of the value she brought to the floor, especially when Indiana needed every scrap of energy to stay in the game. Odyssey Sims, fresh off a season marred by injuries, had the kind of game that spoke to the heart of a competitor. With 16 points and 8 assists, she added the spark Indiana needed to fuel their comeback. Her aggressive drives to the basket, her determination to absorb contact and finish, these moments shifted the momentum when the Fever seemed on the brink of collapse. In a game where every possession felt crucial, Sims' presence was a game-changer. And then there was Brianna Turner, who hadn't been a fixture in every game this season, but on this night she was irreplaceable. Her defense, her shot contests, her ability to read the game made her a stabilizing force when the Fever were under siege. Turner's contributions may not have always shown up on the scoreboard, but they were felt in every clutch defensive play, in every moment of pressure when Indiana needed someone to hold the line. The Fever's collective effort started to show, not in one hero but in a group that refused to back down. Crowd at Gateway Center Arena, nearly 4,000 strong, was louder than ever, feeding off the anticipation of a series win. Every time it seemed like the dream might close the door on Indiana, the Fever responded. But as the game neared its final moments, it became clear that one player would seize the moment. Lexie Hull, the player who had struggled all night with her shot, found herself with the ball in her hands when it mattered most. The stakes were as high as they could get. Down by 1 point, the Fever had less than 30 seconds to make something happen. Mitchell, always the aggressor, sliced through the defense for a layup, tying the game and setting the stage for what would come next. On the very next possession, with the shot clock winding down, Hull found herself open on the perimeter. Without hesitation, she buried a three-pointer, giving the Fever a lead they refused to relinquish. But the drama didn't end there. With only 7.4 seconds remaining, Atlanta had one final shot to win it all. The season, their hopes, their entire playoff run came down to this. The ball was inbound, and for a split second it seemed like everything would hinge on a single pass, a single shot. And then, like a thunderbolt, Hull made the play that would etch her name in WNBA lore. Anticipating the pass, she lunged forward, stealing the ball clean out of the air, sealing the victory for the Fever and sending them to the semifinals for the first time in 10 years. That steal was more than just a defensive play. It was the culmination of everything the Indiana Fever had worked for all season. No excuses. No giving up. It wasn't about one superstar. It was about a collective effort, each player contributing when it mattered most. Hull, who had struggled offensively, became the unlikely hero, showing the world that sometimes it's not how you play throughout the game but how you rise in the final moments. As the buzzer sounded, the Fever's bench erupted. Players who had been through so much, who had fought for every inch all season long, now had something to celebrate. Aaliyah Boston, overcome with emotion, sat quietly for a moment, reflecting on the significance of what had just transpired. Lexie Hull, holding the game ball with pride, knew that her defining moment had arrived. And Kelsey Mitchell, the steady force throughout, embraced her teammates, knowing they had just rewritten a decade-long story. The locker room was a mix of jubilation and relief. But head coach Stephanie White reminded them, "This is step one." With the Las Vegas Aces waiting in the wings, the road to a championship would be even harder. But for the Indiana Fever, this victory was more than just a series win. It was the birth of something new, an identity forged through adversity, a team that refused to be defined by its setbacks. The Aces, a powerhouse led by the likes of Aya Wilson and Chelsea Gray, would present a new challenge. But for now, the Fever had one last moment to savor. They had taken down the Atlanta Dream, fought through injuries, defied the doubters, and finally, after 10 long years, earned their spot in the semifinals. What started as a season of struggle and uncertainty had now transformed into a story of belief and resilience. Indiana wasn't just playing for today, they were playing for the future. And with a team this tough, this hungry, anything seemed possible. Let us know down in the comments below how proud you are of the Indiana Fever. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on another unforgettable moment. We'll see you in the next video.